Hey you! Welcome back to my next episode for the WunderWerken knitting and crafting podcast. I thought that I might try to film every 2 weeks because of the last video. I had so many finished objects, and afterwards I thought about my video and thought that I haven't enough time to talk you through all the finished objects and whips with lots of details. So I think it is a nice video to see what you can do and what I did and worked for the last month, but maybe shorter term of the video frequency or upload frequency could help. So I will try, but the light situation in the north of Germany on this time of the year isn't that easy. So it's not dark outside, but there isn't enough light to get a nice video light. So I tried with my working or knitting light upwards and a smaller light in front of me, and I hope it's nice enough or good enough to see what I did. And I will put some b-roll, some photos in, so you can see the finished objects in natural light. So I can start with what I'm wearing. This is the field sweater. It's a pattern by Isaya, and I knitted this sweater in the early summer this year, and I talked in detail about it in my first podcast episode. So I won't get that deep into the details of this one. I knitted this one in local yarn, which I got in Latvia, and it's Latvian wool. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Limbitzutine, in three different colorways, and knitted this one on 3mm needles in the size L. This pattern isn't size inclusive. There are only 4 or 5 sizes from an S or XS to an XL. So, and it's a nice construction. It's a classic raglan construction, but you knitted this one inside out. So these are the purl stitches, and the raglan is in knit stitches. And it's a kind of fiddly in the beginning of this sweater, because you work short rows with stripes, or in the stripy pattern, and the one stripe is only 2 rows of one color. So it's a little bit tricky, but the pattern is good enough to know what to do. So I don't think maybe now I am wearing this sweater a lot, so I thought maybe a thinner or not that thick sweater isn't that usable for me, but I wear it a lot over a t-shirt for the inside, not only for outside. And it's a little bit, no, it's not cropped, but for my definition or my normal sweaters, I like to wear oversized sweaters, so it's more fitted and it's very usable for me. And I worked a tubular cast off, bind off, sorry, cast on, bind off, bind off, and it broke 2 or 3 times now, so I could fix it every time. It's not that bad, but for my tight knitting, I think these kinds of cast or bind off don't work. I talked to one person who works at my local yarn store here in Hamburg, and she told me that she has the same problem with a tubular or Italian bind off. So it should be elastic, but if you are knitted, you're a tight knitter, it won't work. So it's a there isn't any no, it isn't elastic. I don't know what's and very tight. So I think this is the reason why the sweater or the bind off ripped out a few times. So I will see how long it need this time. And under the arms, so here on this part and here, there is some pilling. I don't mind about it, but yeah, I don't think this brand or this wool is that easy to get out of Latvia, so maybe it's not that important for you all to know about the pilling effect of this yarn, but it's okay. Then I think we can get right into my finished objects, and I will look at my notes, because then I can tell you some more details about every project. And I will start with my Lopi 18. Last time I talked to you, I finished one sleeve and the body part, I think, and now this sweater is already gifted to my friend. This is a pattern by the brand Istex Lopi, and the name of the designer is Anna Arnardottir. I don't know how to pronounce the Icelandic names, but I think Anna is in Icelandic the same. And I knitted this one in Alafos Lopi. This is the thickest Lopi yarn, and this is a 100 meters per 100 grams yarn, and I knitted the ribbing on 5.5 millimeter needles and the rest, or the main part, on 7 millimeter needles. It's one size up what the pattern recommended, so 4.5 and 6 millimeter recommended in the pattern. And I knitted this one in a dark blue. All the color numbers are on my Ravelry project, so it's linked down below in the description in the video box. And the white one is the natural I don't think, I will start on the end of this story. So I was on holiday at my parents' house last week, and I finished the sweater there, and I have had to do or to work a few last rounds, so I think 4 rounds of the pattern and the neckline, and it's a bottom-up construction, so you end with the neckline, and both of my yarns run out, so the dark blue and the white one. I have or had enough and already have some of the plateau Lopi. This is the gray color. Plateau Lopi is an unspun yarn by Eastex, and I held 3 strands together to get the same gauge. It's a little bit tighter, but I only use it for small work of the color work. So I think I knitted a sweater in plateau Lopi held double for the same pattern for Alafos Lopi. So yeah, you have to try and swatch how many strands and on what needle size you could knit Alafos Lopi patterns in plateau Lopi. So I ran out of yarn, and my mother has a friend nearby, and she is also knitting Icelandic sweaters, and always when I'm at my parents' home, I talk to her about my knitting and her knitting, and yeah, so I wrote her if she have some leftover yarn Alafos Lopi in a dark blue or in a white color, and or if she likes to order some new yarn with me. So I thought I need to order 2 bowls more and let these ones ship to my parents' house so I could finish the sweater on my holiday. But the friend of my mother had the same color I needed, so the dark blue of the pattern of the sweater, and so I it was perfect, and I knitted the sweater on this evening to a finished object. And the last rounds I worked a faded color work. So 1 round with 2 strands of the gray plateau Lopi and beige yarn, scrappy yarn from this friend in lead Lopi. So 1 round of mixed colors. So the gray and the beige one, it was a little bit darker than the white one, which I needed for which I used for the rest of the color work. And then I worked the last three rounds of the color work in the plateau Lopi with 3 strands again, and it looks very nice. It's you can't see the lines, so the fading worked very well, and I like the look of it, that the gray ends the color work, or framed it, kind of framed, because on the sleeves and on the bottom there is also a gray kind section of the color work. I will blend you in some photos, and I worked this one in size 4, I think it was size M, but I miscalculated something. I worked the body part in size L, so 1 pattern repeat more, and decreased one in the round before I joined the sleeves and the body part. I don't know how this could happen, but I shortened the body and the sleeves because the person who I gift knitted this for is very short, and she wants a very oversized sweater. She likes to wear this Alafus Lopi sweater outside, but I thought if it's too long, the body and the sleeves, it's not that nice, or it's not that practical. Okay, then I think I have told you all about my one information more. The pattern is for a three color work, and I work my own color work. So I used the color work out of the pattern, but worked a new one in a Excel list, and worked there only two color, or I used some gray, but the main part is in the white color. Okay, but it wasn't that complicated, but it's very nice to have a picture in the right colors, so sometimes I use an Excel. Okay, then I will jump right into my next finished object, and this is a finished object and a work in progress, because these are some socks, and I told you last time it's a black sock, so I think you can't see that much in this light situation, but it's black, so yeah. There was no pattern, so it's a plain knitted sock. I knitted some rounds of 1x1 rib and a slip stitch heel, and yeah, it's a Christmas gift, so not that much to talk about. I am knitting these pair of socks in Schopplewolle. This is the rest, so the main part of the black colorway, which I used in the Alva socks, and I have that much left, so I think I haven't waited, but it would be enough. And I know that my sister has the same yarn, so maybe she will have some scraps which I could use if I haven't enough, but I think it would be enough. It will be enough. And I worked a little color work section which I have out of a knitting book, but it's my first time I worked some kind of intarsia knit, but it didn't work really well. I will look some video for the next sock or the next color work part, because of the tension and the holy sides between the color work and the black work. But I think after I haven't blocked this one, after I block them, it will show up nicer, and it's so small and you can already see what it should look like, so I think it would be okay. Well, it will be okay after I block this one, sorry. Okay, and the last finished object for this podcast episode is my bifurca vest, and I will show it to you because I have the bifurca vest under this sweater. So maybe you can some kind of whoop effect, sorry. So this kind. I will blend you in some pictures. This vest I have knitted in the BC Loch Lomond yarn, or Loch Lomond by BC Yarns, in the colorway 5 or 05, and the gray, the light gray part is in Isaiah Jensen in the colorway S2, and I worked size 4, and I will measure my gauge after I filmed this part of the podcast episode, because I knitted the smaller version for my bust circumference, and I thought it would be more fitted than it is now. So I have to measure the gauge. But I love this vest. I think I have worn it every day since I finished it, over short sleeve and long sleeve. Yeah. Here I worked some. It's a very complicated construction, so if you have bought the pattern, watch the video of which is linked in the pattern, and you have in the pattern in size 4, you should repeat one more round of the one dark, one light, one dark, one light stitch, but I only work 2 rows or rounds because I like the look of the wider, darker part, and only the 2 rows of this kind of 1 by 1 part. And I cast it off in a normal pearl stitch cast off. I never worked it before, and it's very nice. So you have this kind of rolled, it's not rolled, but rolled edge, and yeah, it's not complicated. It doesn't need that much time like other bind-offs, and it looks very detailed. So here on this part I worked it also. Okay, I bought 5 skeins of the BC, so 250 grams, and only needed a few grams of the last skein. So I waited today, and I needed 6 grams or something like this from the last skein, so a little bit more, like 200 grams. And the contrast color is very nice, so for using some rest or leftover yarns. And I think I used I will put it in, I don't know the amount, but I think about 30 grams. Yeah, it wasn't that easy to work the color work, and it's a very complicated construction, so nothing to work while watching or reading or something like this. But I think I will knit this vest again, maybe for my sister, because she would like to have one of these, and I know she won't knit it for herself. After I said it wasn't that easy or it's complicated, she said, "Oh, okay, I think I could knit this one. If you say it's complicated, then I don't know how to do it by myself." And maybe in the next time, if I work this pattern again for myself, then I will try to knit a tighter version. So I don't know about my gauge. I swatch every time, but sometimes my swatches in the same yarn are in the same gauge like my finished objects. So I don't know, maybe sometimes it's because I worked in the round and I worked flat or not flat. I don't know. Yeah, I have to look at it, but there is nothing you can do about it. Okay, then we will look at my works in progress, and the first one I told you about is this small amount of the second sock of the black socks, the black plain knitted socks. I finished the last sock last night and started or casted on the ribbing part of the second one immediately. So no second sock syndrome. Yeah, and the second sock work in progress is the stone sock. It's one of the patterns out of the 52 Weeks of Socks book, the first one by Line Magazine or Line Publishing. And it's a pattern by, I don't know if Fiona Ellis was the designer. No, Fiona Ellis is the designer from the Alva socks, so I will have a look who designed this pattern. Tatiana Kulikova. Maybe, yeah. I think the colors aren't that nice in this light situation, but I worked the heel, and today in the evening my friend who I am knitting these socks for will try them again, because I am knitting this sock the second time because it was too tight. So I will let him try this sock first, but it's now much more wider. I have four stitches more and went up 1 needle size, so I'm knitting this on 3.5mm needles, and yeah, I'm knitting these in Retrosaria Mondim. There wasn't a colorway because of this sticker, but it's a rustic, also a little bit rustic, but rust colored brown. And I am working the first time with this sock yarn. It's 100% wool, and I am looking forward to test it, or to test the sock out of this yarn. But for working with it, I like to work with this kind of sock yarn. I really like yarns without plastic, so normally I don't use any yarn within plastic. For socks, I use some classic sock yarns with some plastic in it, but I have now some yarns without plastic, and I am looking forward to test these ones. Yeah, this is my stone sock, and this is the first one. Yeah. Okay, and I haven't that much objects. I think on my last podcast episode I had so much finished objects and some works in progress, and it was a little bit overwhelming, so I thought maybe less works in progress would be nice for the next weeks or month. Oh, I lost some stitches. I'm in the beginning of the row, so it's maybe not that easy to show you, but these maybe is the Leafy Baby Blanket. It's a free pattern. And if you can tell, these are the leaves. I am working on 4mm needles and in the Pegasus yarn, this one, by Wool for You. In my last episode I talked a little bit more about it. It's a new brand for me, which I got on my last trip to Möhn. It's 100% wool. It's a light heathered grey, and it's produced in the EU, but I don't know that much more about the yarn company. I never heard before about them. And I miscalculated again something, so I haven't read the pattern good enough and calculated the stitches. So the pattern is for a worsted or DK weight held double, and I am working a DK held single, but also on 4mm needles. I think the pattern asks for 4mm needles, so I have to use 5mm needles, and I am using 4mm needles and only one strand, because I thought it would be that thick and not drapey enough if I use 2 strands, and I thought it's nice to have some leftover yarn if I won't need that much. But I work more pattern repeats, and my pattern repeats are 2 stitches longer than the chart in the pattern. So the chart, it's a free pattern, so I think I can talk about it. The chart length in the pattern is 15 stitches, included the 2 purl stitches between the leaf sections. So 1 leaf section, 2 purl stitches, 1 leaf section, and I have 15 stitches leaf section and plus 2 stitches, 2 purl stitches. So my repeat is 2 stitches longer and 2 rows more. Yeah, so my leaves are a little bit bigger than on the sample, or maybe. So I don't know. I have a little bit left of my first 100-gram skein, and I haven't measured it, but this is the part I have worked already. I bought 4 skeins, and I think I will need 3 of them, but I will have a look, and I think after I block this it will be a little bit bigger because of the lace pattern. This is my Leafy Baby Blanket, also a gift knit for a newborn baby. These are all my works in progress, I think. So not that much to talk about more, but I have some plans. One of my plans, so if you already have seen, I haven't cast on the Ovis socks by the Petite Knitter, and I will cast on these socks next after I finish the black socks, I think. So I need my 3mm needles for the Avetta sock yarn, and then I will work some sheepy socks. And last episode I talked about the gift knit for my mother, and I thought I will knit a detailed colorwork sweater. But now I have a new plan, and I think it's a better plan. So I start again about the gift knit section for my mother. Adorable Knits published a pattern called Twisted Twines Shawl 1 or 2 weeks ago, and this is a rectangular or triangular shawl pattern with lots of cables, and it looks very nice, and I love this pattern, and I would love to knit this one. I think it's some work because of all over cable section, but I don't wear big shawls, and now I think this would be the perfect part of a gift knit for my mother, because she loves to wear triangular shawls and bigger shawls. So I think I will knit this one a little bit smaller than the pattern calls for, but I will knit a big shawl, and then I will I will upgrade the gift with a grow hat and the Heldra mitts by both patterns by Fiber Tales. So this is a hat with this kind of grow, and the Heldra mitts I have knitted 2 times before. It's a very nice but a little bit complicated. It's a very detailed chart or pattern repeat to get these kinds of grow. So it's a little bit fiddly to work with a cable needle every 4th row or something like this, but I think it will be a nice set, and if I only could work the shawl, then I can knit the other parts over the next year, or only the hat or only the mitts. So it's a pattern for fingerless mittens. And the hat and the shawl calls for DK weight. There are different combinations, and the Heldra mitts I think calls for a worsted. So I have to swatch and check how I could get gauge, but I would like to use Cascade 220. My mother is very sensitive to wool, and she tried my framed sweater some hours and so she wrapped it around her neck, not because the neckline of the sweater is out of other wool, but she said that the Cascade 220 is very soft to her and there wasn't any itch. So I will have to look at my local yarn store, because I looked in at their website for the colors, but I think it's very nice to look for the colors in person and in daylight. So maybe tomorrow or maybe next week or something like this. Yeah, so this is the big gift knit for my mother's birthday in February. It's in the beginning of February, so not that much time, but I think I could finish something of it. No hurry. Okay. And then my friend who I knitted the Lopi 18 sweater, the blue one, for, asked me to knit another colorwork Icelandic or a traditional colorwork sweater, a black one again, and one out of some lighter yarn, so maybe a fingering or DK weight yarn and not that thick yarn. Maybe I could try the Fiala Lopi. This is the little sister of the Let Lopi yarn by Eastex. It's a new yarn and I haven't knitted with it and I'd like to try. And we haven't decided which pattern, but we thought about the Evergrey sweater by the Petit Knitter. Yeah, I will blend you in some pictures and some kind of black and white color work, I think, or black, gray, white, black, brown, white. I don't know now, and we will see when we can start this project. And for this one friend, I would like to work some Jedra mitts for her birthday. It's in January, and I will shop the wool for these mittens at Brussels. While I will, because I have a friend who lives there for a few months and I will visit her, and while this visit I will shop some yarn with her, and I thought it would be nice to get the yarn for the Jedra mitts because it's not that much of meterage at this trip. And yeah, last time I told you about the Alex hood by Knitting for Olive, and I talked to the friend who am visiting Belgium, and maybe we will buy the yarn together and we'll both knit this kind of hood. But I think I have some more gift knits before I will start the next project for myself. Yeah, but it's all fine. So I see we are now at 52 minutes, and I could show you 2 skeins of sock yarn which I got purchased yesterday on a wool store I never was before on their sale section, and it's the Tweed Mylan White by Lang Yarns into, maybe I will blend you in some pictures which I got on the tomorrow morning in the light in the natural light. So here 2 more sock yarns. It's a 4-ply sock yarn by Lang Yarns, and I paid €7 per skein, and I thought for some more lovely socks it would be nice. So a dark one with white speckles and a brown one with also some lighter speckles. So maybe this is all, and I have some kind of feeling that I haven't talked that detailed about any projects, every project, but maybe you can give me some feedback about it. So what do you like to hear about every project, or should I only talk about finished object that detailed, or do you like to watch shorter or longer videos? So I think this one will be my shortest video, but if I will film every 2 weeks, I don't think I have to talk every 2 weeks that much like this week. So, oh, I forgot to talk about my spinning. Maybe next time some more details about it. And I haven't that much knowledge about spinning and not that much vocabulary about it, but this is my first ever hand spun skein of yarn, and it's so squishy, so nice. I'm so proud, and it's already washed, and yeah, I am spinning the second half of this yarn. So this is a 70-gram skein, so the next one would be, so I bought 200 grams of wool, would be a little bit more, but I'm very proud and it worked very well, and I am looking forward to spin my first hand-dyed, not hand-dyed by myself, but a hand-dyed merino wool after I finished this batch of local sheep wool. Okay, yeah, please comment if you have some questions, and maybe you will follow me on Instagram or here on YouTube, and I will see you in the next podcast episode. Bye bye.